Okay, so I just got back from a 10-day Vipassana course. This was my sixth time doing that, and I've been practicing for about 10 years. I asked you all for questions, and thankfully you sent them in. So I'm just going to go through and answer some of your questions about Vipassana. First one we have here is from Drew. Awesome, man. Any major insights from it? So I think each time there are like some major insights that I get into my own character, into things that I'm holding on to, that I'm not so aware that I'm holding on to. And I think one big insight is just that I should do this more often. This was a year and a half since my last time, and actually they suggest you do this every year, and I'm thinking that that is the right choice, and maybe even sooner than that, because it really is kind of a deep reflection on things that you're holding on to, and also deep letting go. Like, I feel so much lighter now than I did before I went to the course, and that's just through the process of the practice. You're able to let go a lot of anger or anxiety or things that you're holding on to that are clouding your reality without you necessarily knowing, right? That's the kind of thing about it. When you're in a certain mindset, you're just in it. You don't know you're in it until you have a contrast to it. So I would like to do it more often. Next up from Ehsan, how does the experience differ depending on the land the retreat is held on? I've done retreats in Southern California, in Northern California, one in Dubai, and one here in Armenia. Some of the centers are actual centers. They're built for meditation. And then some of them are kind of retreat centers, or this was actually a children's camp being used as a Vipassana center. There's difference on levels of comfort. There's difference on levels of just kind of like how easy is it to move around, how cold are you? Like this place was kind of cold. I didn't realize, but I'm in the mountains right now. But yeah, it's definitely different. Food can be a little bit different. It's kind of fun to be in these different places and among different people and among different cultures. Practice stays exactly the same. The next question is from Roya. You shouldn't say anything. What if you're in a pain, or what if you need something? No, you definitely can talk to management if there's some kind of issue that you need help with or something's going on. And if you have any questions, you can always talk to the teacher. So there's practical level of talking allowed, but just among the students, you're not supposed to talk. For some people, it's easier than others. For me, I think it's fairly easy. Focus on your practice and allow other people to focus on their practice too. And it's a pretty deep practice, so people are having different things going on, and it is helpful for people to kind of have that space where they can just be with it themselves and let the practice work. From Irfan, it looks difficult. Is that correct? It is difficult. Like, when I go to something like this, I generally get people saying, have fun, have a good time. I don't know. It's challenging. It's the most challenging thing I do in my life, but it's also the most valuable thing I do in my life. It's sitting with yourself. It's sitting with yourself and with all the parts of yourself that you don't usually sit with, all the difficulties that you don't really want to address, or everything comes up. Every stone is unturned. But that shouldn't frighten you, because you're also given a technique that allows you to get through those storms, those experiences, and come out of the other side of it, right? Instead of living in those storms, or those storms living deep within you and still affecting you, you're able to have a practice that allows you to go through them and come out, a more mature and a more happier person. How can you go 10 days without talking and without internet? How do you spend your time? For some people, the phone is kind of a big deal. At this point, I actually enjoy it, and I actually tell people that you might find that you enjoy not having your phone, and I hear that they do. You're practicing from like 4 a.m. We wake up, first meditation is 4:30, and then it goes until like 9 p.m. when you're dismissed. And between that, you have around 10 hours of meditation. But they're broken up. You have a couple sits, and then you have break, you have breakfast. My whole time there is pretty much spent either napping, eating, occasional like shower or laundry. But yeah, that's napping and eating is most of it. There's also like places to walk generally if you need some movement. Why do they say it's so hard and so many leave after the 4 days? People do leave. It depends. Like I've sat in courses where nobody has left. This past course, I don't know if anybody left. If they did, I didn't notice. It's hard. Like, this is not something we're accustomed to, and the technique, like, you really got to see it through. You really got to stay until the end to fully understand what it is, how it works, and how it's helping you. You know, they don't have the patience for it, or in the first few days they're like, what is this? I don't really get what the purpose is. I'm watching my breath, like, or, you know, they're telling me to kind of like feel these sensations in my body, like what does that even mean? There can be those kind of like doubts and things that get to people, and also the practice itself is difficult. It's bringing up stuff. So I think a mixture of that causes people to not stay until the end, and it's unfortunate because it is a really helpful practice if they do. Then we have a question from Mustafa. What is the first thing you appreciate after completing Vipassana? Honestly, I think the first thing most people appreciate is just the ability to like talk to other people. But on reflection, it's just, like I said, it's just feeling lighter. It's just there's stuff that I was dealing with and holding on to and having difficulty processing that this just gives you the time and space to process. It's an incredibly powerful practice, and it's very simple. It's a very simple practice. It's like you don't have to believe anything. You watch your breath. Everybody has breath. You watch. They teach you how to observe the sensations in your body. Everybody has that. You know, it's a really beautiful practice that is so secular and so available to everybody and so powerful. So I think gratitude is the next thing that I feel that I have this practice in my life. Practice isn't just the 10-day. The 10-day is you learning the technique, and then you go home and you're suggested to practice an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening every day for life. Most people don't do that. Most people will go to the practice and then maybe somehow continue a little bit or not. But it is really powerful when you do that. I've done that somewhat for about 9 years. Points where it's been less, points where it's been an hour a day. Sometimes it's been 15 minutes. Sometimes I've missed days. So I am looking to just dedicate myself to the practice again, because it is so effective in just increasing the quality of my life, increasing my happiness, increasing my clarity of mind, and making me a better person. The practice, it changes you, and you can grow as a person for it. Is it free? Is it actually free? Yes. So after you complete the practice, there will be someone sitting there with a box, and if you feel like the practice has benefited you in some way, then you can donate. Actually, they don't let people donate who haven't done the practice. The whole thing is run on donations and volunteers and things like that. It's everywhere. If you can go to dhamma.org, and you'll see that there are centers everywhere around the world, plenty in the US and the UK and around Europe. Sometimes they are quite popular. They're getting quite popular, so sometimes you have to plan in advance. And I think the closest one for Iran is Armenia, if anyone is in Iran. I've been doing for 10 years, and I'm probably going to keep doing for the rest of my life, because nothing has impacted me as much as this practice has. It's a very simple practice, but it's a tool for changing the way your mind operates, going from a reactionary mind to a non-reactionary mind. And that, in the process of doing that, you're dealing with stuff from the past, and also you're dealing with stuff in the present. Over time, over the course of doing this practice, becoming a happier and more stable and better person. And who doesn't want that? So if you have more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I have another video that I did a few years ago. I'll link that, or if this is on Instagram, I'll put this in the highlights. Take care. Much love. Peace. Beautiful place, by the way. This is Dilijan, mountains of Armenia. Bye-bye.